Hi there, I'm Jo Circuit, and today I just wanted to give you some hot tips on how you can be the most productive, creative and focused person at work in your workplace. We find these days the number one thing is being distracted. And so what I will say is finding the perfect time of the day when you find that your brain is firing at all cylinders. That might be first thing in the morning, it may be at 11 o'clock in the morning, it may be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But during this time I want you to set aside turning off all your notifications on your phones, apps, computers, put your landline onto voicemail and set that timer for half an hour to actually just work and focus on that task at hand. If you find that ideas and things come up, have a notepad next to you and write them down. Don't engage into that thought, just write it down, let it go, move back to the task at hand. One of my best tips is not to check your emails in the morning, whether it's at home or at work, because you'll get absorbed into that. So get into that task that needs to be done first thing, and then you can check emails afterwards. You'll find you'll be the most productive that time. Having a glass of water next to you is very important. It's vital actually. After 90 minutes, our brain actually switches off and it fatigues and you're not as productive. So after this 90-minute period, you need to do things to switch your brain back on. Water is a very good way of doing that. By drinking water, there's a mechanism in our tongue that tells our brain to switch back on. There's a lot of things that switch our brain off, and these include fluorescent lights, stress, coffee, which you may not have known, and alcohol. And so we need to keep that brain primed so we can actually be the best ourselves at work. So drinking water will help doing that. And it actually has to be plain water, so tea doesn't work, soft drinks, things like that, it has to be water. Another way to switch your brain back on is just using these positive points here. So what this does, it brings the blood flow back to the front of the brain, away from the thinking mind, and makes you think more logically about a situation, focused and feeling you can concentrate on something. You know that rodent thinker, the statue, he's doing this. So it's actually just bringing that blood flow back to the front of the brain. You may also want to tap those points of really allowing that concentration and focus to come back, rather than sitting to the emotional and the thinking part of your brain that makes up all the stories about what's going on with work. We want you to be able to think of the problem and solve it quickly. Another way is to get up and walk around the office. You need to take those breaks. So getting up, you may at the same time do some stretches. And one thing I find with stretches is this one is very important. So clasping your hands behind, we need to open up this area, especially if we're working on computers a lot. What we're doing is we're sitting too much hunched over things, whether you're on the laptop or we're on iPhone and things like this. We need to do this as regularly as possible. So while you're just sitting back, you can just do this in your chair or walking around the office, or stretching up and doing the same thing here. Again, it's opening up your back area, opening up the chest area. By also opening up this chest area, you're letting more oxygen in. So you've got more oxygen in, more oxygen goes to the brain. You can do things like cross crawl, those with the opposite leg to opposite knee. This also integrates your left and right brain, allowing you to think properly, but it's also some exercise, also gets you moving. You can go behind, it's a bit hard to see on this video, but the opposite leg, opposite hand behind is a good way to do it. Another way to be focused is the Pomodoro technique. If you find you get distracted a lot, set a timer and start with 5 minutes on task and try to stay on that task for that 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, have a 1 minute break. Then set the timer again, another 5 minutes. Focus on that task, don't get distracted. Come back to the task. After that time, have another minute break. You can research the Pomodoro technique, but it is really good at keeping you on track and on focus and being productive. You can end up then going to 40 minutes without being distracted and having a 10-minute break. I suggest also at lunchtimes or breaks, get outside, get into the sunshine. The sunshine actually stimulates our brain, resets our serotonin, and will actually also help us sleep at night, creating more melatonin. Getting fresh air outside as well helps. It'll help for that afternoon slump when you feel after lunch, you feel a bit tired because you've had some lunch and you feel that you have that slump. So it will help with that as well. So there's a lot of techniques you can do. Eating healthy snacks, so nuts and seeds rather than heavy carbs when you're having sort of snacks. That helps with your brain as well. So here's a few techniques that you might want to use. Other ones is you might want to just do some tapping around the points of your face, which gets everything stimulated. And one of my favorite ones is the ear massage. So the ear massage has 350 points on our ears that stimulate our brain, our lymphatics, our metabolism, our digestion, but it really gets our brain switched on as well. So giving a massage everywhere. And a good one I like to do is just a shaking one, getting everything shaking. So your arms, your hands, your feet, your butt, your ears, your shoulders, and doing that for about a minute or so. And that one will really get you going. I do that first thing in the morning, but you can do it at work, you can do it at lunchtime, you can do it when you're feeling that 2 p.m. slump as well. So enjoy the day. I hope you feel productive, focused, and clear at work. Enjoy. See you.